Just one of those things that is an experience to have. Really excited. I got a phone call at 1:30, so I don't have that long. But I've got going to an event. We're doing a reentry simulation here in Charlottesville. I'm really excited about. We've got pretty much all the local reentry groups, service groups, prison reform groups. Yeah. Hey, Barbara, how are you? So yeah, we're just trying to figure out a way to coordinate basically all the groups that are already doing the work or interested in doing the work, and how do we bring them together and do something so the community or the public can benefit, because so often, people just don't know about the process of reentry, and it's just really exciting. But also, I'm treating myself because I've been prep cooking and being really responsible all week. I just made a bunch of big meals. And so now I'm going to eat ice cream because this is my guilty pleasure and doing everything I can to save money. But every now and then you got to just eat ice cream. Thank you. From Germany. Who was I talking to just recently? I really want the opportunity to travel. And in August, I get off probation, so I will theoretically have the opportunity to travel. My hope is that it means I will be able to go to Europe because I've never been able to. I've been really, really lucky. I really like this shirt too. My friend Morgan told me I need to start dressing the way I want people to perceive me. And at first I thought that was a really silly thing to say. Then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I do. I see somebody and I assume things about them by the way they dress. And the shirt was like $15. It was great. At some point I'll probably buy nice stuff, but for now I'm just like trying to get things that look nice, that present myself when I'm going to meet with people or going places in the way that I want to be received. Hopefully not with ice cream all down the front of it, but this thing is amazing. But I did have hair before. I had crazy professor hair. That was my thing, is because we had to cut our hair in prison for the longest time. And then when we finally won the last lawsuit that said we could have hair basically of any length or style, I grew my hair out and I grew my beard out. And then I realized I don't actually like that. I was just doing it as like a rebellious way. And so it was neat to see, like, no, what I actually want to do is just like have a short hair, have shaved head. It just feels good. It's good to hear. Thank you for saying that. I have this going right now on like TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. So it's going to be a little confusing, but we're trying. Eating ice cream cone in a dress shirt. See, you got to do it. Got to live dangerously. And these days, dangerously doesn't mean like 180 miles an hour on a motorcycle or something. So, yeah, so getting a visa to travel, that's the issue. I have a passport. Once I'm off probation, I can travel from this end. The question is, can I get into other countries? Like the Commonwealth countries, the UK, Canada, Australia, will not let me in. But the EU, as of right now, will. They don't do these deep background checks. But they're going to start doing that, and that's one of the problems. Hey, Jess, how are you? I won't talk to you in forever. And so the concern is that when they institute these new policies, whether we'll actually be able to get in there or not. Yeah, I got a bunch of questions that I have not looked at. Thank you. I think I look better without my hair too. Last trip I took, I checked into the hotel. The guy was like swagged out, like amazing chains, everything. And he looked at my ID, and my ID has a picture of my hair and my beard. He was like, bro, let me tell you, like, that is not your fit. Like, this is your fit. Do this. That made me feel good. But yeah, I would definitely really like to do that. And yeah, that's the problem. I'm off probation in August 16th. I'm done. And I had a buddy who just had a run-in with the law, who's still on probation. And he didn't do anything. Like, he didn't commit a new crime. He just did something stupid. And it just reminded me that I really have to be careful with the way I'm like dealing with things. That's why I'm selling the motorcycle. Like, between the accident and then that, I was like, you know what? It's time. Sell the motorcycle, pay down some debt, start making some like really good adult decisions. Thank you. I always think of you. I've reached out a couple times. I know you're busy. I know you got things going on in your life. So I haven't, reached out as much, but always thinking of you, and I'm always here if you need something. Yeah. I shaved my head early. Oh man. I shaved my head in my 20s, but then I was in prison where we couldn't have our hair more than a quarter inch long. So it was just the easiest thing to do. And it wasn't always like perfectly shaved because I hadn't lost all my hair yet, but I would take it down with the trimmers. Virginia Beach. See people all over. We got people in Germany, people in Virginia Beach, people in Detroit. Really like it. Yeah, there you go. Just shave all that hair off. There you go. Jess Kent shaving her hair live on TikTok or YouTube, going viral. Absolutely. But you have a prison closing due to the fact that prison population has decreased so much. Yeah, so I mean, this is good news. We've changed the policy enough in Virginia that we've managed to close 4 prisons. And they're actually supposed to be turning one of the prisons into like a training facility, like actually therapy and educational, vocational, like all these things. And I really hope that they do it. And I believe they will. Like the new director really seems to do and follow through. But the fact that we can close 4 prison shows that like we have people in prison that don't need to be there because they're not recidivating, they're not coming back. But we've been holding them for years. And the danger is when we do that because we want to punish people, or when we do that because we think it's a good idea, well, we end up in a situation where like we're holding people that don't need to be there, which is costing taxpayers a fortune and not actually protecting society. So that's the problem. And no, I'm not married. I've had some new food. I'd never had an Oreo ice cream cone before I got out. So, hey, John. Biggest shock. I think the biggest shock for me was 2 things. One, it was technology. It was the way that technology is so interlaced into all the areas of our lives. It's really hard to imagine not having it. And like I noticed, I've become kind of addicted to like checking my phone all the time and checking for messages and checking for this, but also just how divided and isolated people seem. I think part of that was getting out during COVID, but part of that was also getting out to a world where we are divided politically and socially and geographically. At the same time that we're connected by social media. It's so ironic because we are more connected. We are more interconnected than we've ever been before. We all sit in our bubbles feeling isolated. And I think that's why it's so important to find ways to find community and get face-to-face with someone or with groups of people. And I notice I get paralyzed. Like one of my big things after getting out is like choice paralyzes me. So when I have structure and I have work and I have things I have to do, it's almost easy. But when I take time and like I have free time, I don't know what to do with myself. Like it's a struggle. So I just started saying yes to things because I'm in this place where I'm trying to really grind and like only prep and not go out and save money. But I have a gym membership. So I'm like, every time I need something to do, I'll go to a yoga class or I'll go sit in the hot tub or I'll go like do something rather than just sitting here feeling paralyzed and scrolling through social media or doing nothing at all. And I think that if I can continue on that path, it's going to end up feeling better. So video games. I would like to play video games in theory. The problem is I still play if I play. It's one of the games I played like 25 years ago because it's comfortable and I know it, but I don't actually enjoy it because one of the things I've realized is that what I need or what I really enjoy is novelties, like new stimulation and new experiences. When I do something old, it initially feels comfortable, but then it kind of feels empty and I feel like I'm just wasting time. I'd rather be reading something or learning something or even like watching a movie or a TV show, like adding something new to my life experience or to my kind of like database, my drive or something, because so often it feels like I'm just rehashing the old things and I don't want to do that. But the ice cream is absolutely yeah. Hi Fiona from Scotland. And yeah, I would say my day is going really well. It's been a really rough 2 weeks between therapy stuff and personal stuff and just worries about money and just like, I actually am in a really good spot because what I remembered is that I've made it this far. I've gotten this far after 2.5 years and I'm doing better than I ever imagined, mental health wise, like, security wise, everything else. But also that if it doesn't work out, like if I lose everything, I'll still be okay. Because I think about where I was 2 years ago where I had nothing and therefore I had nothing to lose. So I wasn't worried about it. Now I'm in a place where I'm like all of a sudden worried and trying to figure out how to maintain stability. And none of that matters. Like I'm okay and I'm going to be okay no matter what. I feel like I'm getting back in touch with that. And having an amazing therapist is really vital to that process. And having a mentor and having friends and people who hold me accountable has really helped me do that. But I don't think people realize just how hard it is to like get out of prison or get out of the military or get out of an abusive relationship, like go out into the unknown in a really scary way. Even if your past has been like very structured or traumatic or whatever it is, getting out into something new can be incredibly overwhelming. But I like that. Hiram, who, by the way, has an incredible story. We interviewed him for the podcast and we're going to have him back. Says he can only hang out and relax when his wife is around. Otherwise, he does stuff for himself. I think about that because there's a part of me that after all those years, I want to go out and like date and be free and have choices and do whatever I want. There's also a part of me that wants a family, wants a community, wants a place to come back to. And I'm torn on that. And I really don't know what to do with it. It's one of the reasons that like dating after prison has been so confusing because I can't even come into the equation saying what I want. Like saying, most people know they're like, hey, I want to have a family and kids. Cool. Like, is that what you want? If not, we can just keep moving. I don't know. I don't know from day to day whether I want to go out and date and have fun or whether I want something serious or whether I want to get I just have no idea. And I think trying to figure that out, I used this example the other day, but it's like Julia Roberts in Runaway Bride, where she's always said, when they say, what kind of eggs do you want? She always gets whatever the guy has. She has this scene where she has like 20 different types of eggs on the table because she has to taste them to figure out what she actually wants. And I feel like that's kind of what it is for me. Last year, when I said I was saying yes to everything, I was really just doing what everybody around me wanted to do and not actually learning what I wanted. And so now I'm in the process of having to figure out what it is that I actually want, or like where I actually want to put my energy, or where I actually feel like there's a return. And ice cream is one. This is one thing I figured out. I love ice cream. Though my now non-existent six-pack doesn't love ice cream, so I have to balance that out. But figuring out how to balance all the things that are good, the long term, the short term, I don't know, it's just tough to do. And Mike, I'm sorry you were in Haynesville. I hear that was a particularly unpleasant place to be. Let's see. I did 5 years in West Virginia. Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting to see the parallels. How many people are like going through something, how many can relate to an alien experience, whether that's someone getting out of prison, or like I said, the military, or leaving an abusive relationship, or just leaving a comfortable situation. I know somebody who's been in a marriage that wasn't abusive, but she hasn't been happy for a long time. And she finally had the courage to say, hey, I'm not happy. Like, are we going to work on this? Or are we going to walk away from this? And he wasn't willing to work on it. So she was terrified. She was like, well, I'm not going to stay with somebody who's not willing to work on this. Like, I'm not willing to stay in this place. And I think it's really difficult. I think it's hard to take that first step. But once we do, I think it's a really positive thing. We often have this idea that change should be either good or bad, or that like we're moving to a better or worse place. But for me, I know it's very much in waves. And it might be like moving generally up, but it'll be amazing. And then it'll be even harder than it was before. And then it'll be more amazing and then even harder. And especially in therapy, I notice that every time I have a realization, or every time I can kind of like process something that I hadn't processed, I'll feel wonderful, and then I will crash. Some part of me will like drag me back down to the earth, and I will enter a depression, or I'll enter just like a struggle, or I'll be incredibly anxious. And that's part of the process. And I talked to my therapist about this morning, and her thing was, hey, you can't have one without the other. Like, there is no way to just move forward cleanly. Like, therapy is dirty and ugly and painful, but we're moving towards a place where we're a lot lighter, and we're a lot more secure, and we're a lot stronger. And thinking about it that way really makes me feel better, because I recognize that all of the pitfalls and all the struggles and all the like blocks in the road, or all the kind of barriers, really are the process. When I do that, I feel a little bit better about what I'm accomplishing or where I'm at, because it's really easy to judge myself and say, well, you should be here, or you should be doing this, or you should have helped 10,000 people, or you should have made $10,000, or whatever judgment it is. And generally, that's just some way of me beating myself up for something I don't need to beat myself up about. And I travel outside of the U.S. Yes, but not until I'm off probation. I just talked about this a minute ago. They actually said now that I could apply to travel outside the U.S., but I need to give them like 3 months notice. And the easiest thing is just to wait till August. So that was my plan. Once again, maybe I can get Oreo to sponsor me, but these Oreo cones are like just amazingly good. Oh, wow. Michael's giving me a show in HBO. He's been out for 13 years. Very cool. Well, like I said, I got to have a call with somebody who was basically a mentor of mine for a really long time. I have that in just a few minutes. And then we're going to have a conversation about a reentry simulation. We're bringing all the service and reentry groups in Central Virginia together to do a seminar for the public. So these reentry seminars allow people to like play the role of somebody getting out of jail or prison, and show them just how many barriers are in place and how difficult it can be. And I think that's really how we change things, because we don't change policy until we change culture. And you can't like talk your way into changing culture. You can't tell people they're wrong. What you do is you show people, you allow them to see something and experience it and really understand it. And that's why stories are so powerful, or that's why things like this are so powerful, because somebody can come in saying, oh, I don't believe in any of that crap. Like, people in prison just need to rot. Then they go through this routine and they're like, oh, like that actually is impossible. We are setting people up to fail. And that doesn't make sense. Like, I never realized that. And so I never blame people when they disagree with me. Like, someone can disagree with me. Maybe they're right and I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. Like, the point is that everybody's view is legitimate. The only way we're going to get closer is proximity, is sharing experiences and having conversations. And it's so important to have conversations with people we don't agree with. When I first got out of prison, everybody's like, you need to talk to the delegates and the senators. So I did, but I didn't talk to the people who already supported criminal justice reform. Like, I don't need to talk to them. We already agreed. I talked to the guy who was the stalwart opponent of any kind of criminal justice reform because I wanted to have a conversation about my experience and his. I wanted to better understand why he believes the things that he does or why he feels the ways that he does, because there's got to be some middle ground. Because again, I don't believe that people are evil. Like, maybe some people are just miswired, but he has the view he has for a reason, and there are needs that he's protecting by doing that. So, like, how do we address those needs? How do we find a middle ground where everybody's needs are accommodated and be able to move forward in a way that actually helps people? I think so often it's like, you're wrong, and pointing fingers doesn't do anything. It just makes us all look stupid. How long do I have to, like, get off the system? It is, what is today? The 26th. So I have less than 6 months. August 16th, I will be completely off paper. And we're having a party. Or I don't know if we're having a party. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm doing between now and then. I'm trying to figure out how to cut a bunch of costs, save some money, put myself in a better position for the future. I'm kind of disappointed. I put a book proposal together and got a really good book agent and shopped it around starting January 8th. And sent it to, all the big publishers, and literally like 3 days in, one of the big 5 publishers reached out and was like, hey, we want to meet with you. We're super excited about this. Can we bring our PR team? Can we bring our editor? Everything. And then I haven't heard anything since. And I was really hoping to have that opportunity, like have the platform where I could get an advance, which would allow me to like feel a little more security as I put things aside and really write the book, but also then have a platform to really pump it out there. And I hope something still comes through, but you never know. Maybe, who knows? I mean, maybe I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Maybe we'll just keep doing with we're doing with Second Chancer Foundation. But I have to say, the Second Chancer Connect, we're working on migrating just the application process to our website. But we've built something really cool. We've built a system to where someone in prison, any prison in the country, can write a letter, send it to our virtual mailbox. That'll then be processed. It'll be drawn out through ChatGPT, and then it'll be connected with a mentor who has the specific skills or perspective or experience that allows them to answer the questions of the person who's reaching out. And so we can develop opportunities and relationships. People can learn professional skills. People can essentially put themselves in a position to succeed when they get out. It was one of the hardest things of being inside, was feeling like I didn't have any options or any way of looking things up or any way of gaining that knowledge. Like, so often the books in the library were just so far out of date, and I would have to like wait to get that material. I would have to call somebody on the phone and ask them to look it up and then wait for them to send it in. Now being able to do that, and everybody be able to do that, not just somebody who has like connections and friends and girlfriends and whatever, but like anybody be able to access a professional resource that can help them better themselves, help prepare them for release, just feels huge to me. So we need to grow our mentor network. And again, the application process is on the website if you're interested in being a mentor. And I'm going to make a couple videos and like really pump this out there and really talk about it. But once we have a broad enough mentor base, we can really flesh out the pilot. We can see just how many people we can get going through. We can see what we might need to change about the onboarding process. But I'm really excited because by the end of the year, I see us being able to serve like 500 or 5,000 people, and then being able to grow from there exponentially if we can do the fundraising around it. So we're applying for a couple federal grants. But again, the biggest thing that has allowed me to succeed in my release has been the relationships I found. It's been the people that I've found. It's been the opportunities I've had. And if we can create that for other people, we can have a lot more success stories. And it's not just one person or two people, but in everybody having those opportunities, it's really life-changing. So my hope is that. One last question, and then I got to go. Did I have trouble finding a job? No. Thankfully, I came out during COVID when we had the best job market ever because everybody needed employees. And the local university where I am and the local city will all hire people with felony convictions. So I was able to go in, and I actually ended up going to a different job because I found something that had more flexibility that allowed me to travel and do speaking and do a lot more really cool things. But there were a lot of opportunities. Now, not everywhere is like that. But when we have people coming out, we have a partner network to work that goes through the local community college. We have pipelines and pathways. We have some really good job resources as well as the local United Way. So in my area, generally, if somebody comes out, we can get them a job. And yeah, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to play a part in that. But all right, I got to go. I got to make my phone call and then go to my meeting. But I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.